Good afternoon, hello, and welcome to the Omni Coalition News Show, aka TOCNS. This show is an amalgam of strange, weird, bizarre, off-the-wall, and otherwise things you don't normally see anymore from most news sources these days. During a time of political overabundance and divisiveness, we present you with more unifying topics to discuss. For links to the articles, the music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am Aoxander, and today I am joined by...
Scotty Bugatti.
And?
And Jace.
And Jace.
Jace again.
Welcome to the show, guys. So,
Thank you.
we have quite a bit of interesting articles here for this day. But of course, the viewer is, the viewer. Today is Tears' Day, aka Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. We're going to start off here from Oddity Central, and if anybody wants to read, by the way, you can either utilize my stream here, or if you have your own way of looking at your own screen, I have all the links in the TOCNS channel on Discord itself. But if anybody wants to read, just speak up. But we have a woman returns to civilization after spending 500 days isolated in a cave. We have covered this before, so I'm only going to read the first paragraph here. Spanish extreme athlete who voluntarily isolated herself from the world is by entering a cave in November of 2021, recently emerged from her self-imposed exile after a record 500 days. So, yeah, as I said, we've covered this before, so I'm going to encourage you to go to the underbar of the description below. The link to this article and the other ones are all down there. They do the work, so, go over there, give them the foot traffic, and read the full article themselves over there. So, anyway...
that is seriously living off the grid.
Yeah, and Scott, I think I told you earlier, I mentioned that actually, didn't I? Today.
A little bit, yeah.
We were talking about isolation and everything, and I talked about that one crazy lady who went underground for like 500 days, and like it really...
Oh, yeah, that's it, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, and she thought only like 56 days or something had passed. It had been 500. Isolation really does a thing on your mind. And there's a reason why they're trying so hard to get rid of, solitary confinement and stuff in prisons, because it's not just unconstitutional. It's a crime against humanity. You're.
Yep.
I completely agree and also completely disagree. And I will say this was not in prison. This was county jail, but I did some time. And I spent literally, it had to have been like 3 weeks, almost a month in solitary, like what they called the hole. And honestly, man, being somebody who I'm a pretty big dude, I'm 5'11", I'm about 250, but I'm sure as hell not the biggest in there. And I didn't, really want to fight. And there's kind of always that mentality, somebody's gonna fuck with you. And if you're in solitary, nobody can really fuck with you. If you're in there for like years upon years and they're just doing it to be awful, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But a little bit of solitary when you want to freaking break in jail, it ain't so bad.
Yeah. Well, that might be a discussion for the Peanut, actually.
Unless you're in suicide cell solitary, which is even worse.
Oh well, yeah.
No, that's where I went. It was that was called OBS, observation. OBS short for observation. They only had like three of those cells.
Yeah.
And like two of them were. I was actually in observation a couple of times too. Because that's bad. The reason I actually went to solitary because I got into a couple of fights. But they'll bring you to ops first when they're trying to figure shit out, because generally a fight happens and they want to find out why the fight happened and what they can do to resolve it. Do they need to separate you guys forever? You guys gonna keep punching yourselves in the face, blah blah blah.
I just want to say something real quick, Jace.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you, and I'm looking at your profile picture. I'm like, hey, I finally recognize that. That's my homie, Animus Tempest, the Lizard Man.
Oh, you just noticed that? You didn't see that before?
No, you've told me that before, but now I actually recognize it. I've seen it, but I actually recognize it now.
Oh, that's sick.
Anyway, let's move on up. Get back in the news here.
Yeah.
More from Oddity Central. 11-year-old boy pedals 130 kilometers to grandma's house after an argument with his mother. So 130 kilometers, 130 km to miles
I can relate
is
to that one.
it's 80 miles, 80.7 miles. So
Wow.
wow, so
I
he
feel
rode
like that
80
would,
miles.
that would take more than a
Christ,
day to do that.
Yeah,
it might, because like I drive. I can probably get, depending on where you're at. You're gonna get maybe, if you're full highway, you're gonna get 65 miles an hour.
no, this is a
Maybe a little
bicycle.
more.
This is a bicycle.
No, I know,
Oh.
I know. That's what I'm saying. But like that's, if you're going as fast as you possibly can, in an hour you're only getting, 65, maybe 70 miles.
Yeah,
in a
if you're
car
really
an
gunning
hour
it
on
and
the-
you have no
if you're
traffic
gunning it
whatsoever.
on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a hike. I mean, because that's an hour in a car. That's like a.
Well,
I
let's
think
read
that's like a
this. Let's see how
16-hour walk.
it might tell us how long it takes. So it says here, Chinese news media recently reported the story of an 11-year-old boy who rode his bicycle 130 kilometers, 81 miles, in under 24 hours, trying to reach his grandmother's house after an argument with his mother. So it took less than a day, but still,
Yeah.
your point proven. That's a long time. After getting into an argument with his mother, an 11-year-old boy from Hangzhou, China's Zhejiang province, got on his bike determined to reach his grandmother's house. He actually told his mother so during their fight, but she never actually believed him because her mother lived about 140 kilometers, 87 miles away in Zhejiang. She underestimated the boy's determination because he spent about 22 hours cycling day and night on busy roads and motorways trying to achieve his goal. He only stopped when his legs couldn't carry him any longer. By that point, he already covered an impressive distance of about 130 kilometers. So he almost made it.
Yep.
Little fucking stud.
Yeah, and I know exactly where his head's at. Like I've gotten to I distinctly remember one night I had an argument with my mom, and I went out on my bike and I literally heard screaming in my head. Like I was at the end of my rope, like.
Yeah, I have a story like that once where I got into an argument and got out of the car and I walked 17 miles all the way home and it took like 5 hours.
Jesus.
So I remember that.
Yeah.
Because we did the odometer in the car so I could figure out exactly how far that I had walked that day.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on up here. More from Oddity Central. Man uses burqa disguise to participate in women's chess tournament. Wow.
Really?
Well, this is somebody who wanted to take advantage of all this trans stuff without actually becoming trans. So, a Kenyan man recently made international news headlines after being caught taking part in a women's chess tournament using a full burqa as a disguise. In what is considered a first for the Kenyan Chess Federation, a disciplinary committee is currently debating the proper punishment for a male player who disguised himself as a Muslim woman in an attempt to win a women's chess tournament. 25-year-old Stanley Omni was reportedly facing financial woes when he decided to try and get his hands on the 2,400 pound or $3,000 grand prize of a women's chess tournament. To pull it off without attracting too much suspicion, the male chess player put on a black burqa which only left his eyes and feet visible and registered under the false name Millicent Aour. At first, organizers were none the wiser to the player's gender, but it was his prowess at the game of chess that first drew their attention. Okay, so that's kind of sexist right there. Because he was playing good, they're like, oh, this can't be a woman. That's kind of a weird way to catch somebody. But bravo? Question mark.
Even wore the glasses, like.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you can see here. Actually, oh yeah. Well, he's. Yeah. Okay. So he's doing. I think he's doing a little better than her. I don't know. I see all the black pieces, and those are his pieces. And I just saw a couple pieces over here, but there's not a lot of white pieces on the board. And she's not playing anybody, so all these pieces are her pieces that he's taken.
Yeah.
So, but man, that's pretty wild. Oh, here's another picture of him. So,
I think you can pretty much tell.
kind of, sorta, like
A little bit.
with the shoulder width and all that stuff. So, anyway, let's move on up here. Man spends 24 more from Oddity Central. Man spends 21 hours on his knees in front of ex-girlfriend's workplace. Wow, can you say whipped? So, Here we go. A young man from China's Sichuan province spent over 20 hours kneeling in front of his ex-girlfriend's workplace, hoping to convince her to take him back. Wow. Keep in mind, like, the disparity between males and females in China is like 20 to 1, if not worse. Like, I just pulled that number off the top of my head. I think it's a low ball. So, like, you know, when you lose your girlfriend or something, you know, that's probably going to be it for the rest of your life. Good luck finding another. So, you know, the extreme lengths men have to go to just to ascertain a woman, let alone, like, keep her. Like, they literally, like, you know, like, you've heard of wedding gifts and everything. Some of these people have gotten to the point where they're literally gifting entire houses, like, just to get a chance at dating. Like, it is rough.
But Alex, I want to also let you know that's literally probably like half the fucking guys and girls situations in this world. But I know from experience, and what is that?
I'm talking about China specifically, Jace.
Oh, China! I thought you were talking about the whole world. Yeah, but it's usually 50-50. Like,
no, I'm talking specifically about China, because this is a Chinese guy. You know, this is in China. So.
Oh, I thought you were talking about here, man. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not talking about a global wide problem. That's another discussion. No, China itself, like, specifically, like, the world doesn't have a disparity of 20 to 1. That's ridiculous. Like, China does, though, because of their one-child policy and constantly killing the female babies because they want their name and their lineage to continue on. So everybody just had one male child, like, really caused a problem. So, but it says here
there is a huge problem with that. Yeah.
It says here a lovesick man became the talk of Chinese social media this month after spending almost 21 hours kneeling outside his ex-girlfriend's workplace in Daozu City. The man reportedly started the extreme attempt to get back to his ex-girlfriend's good graces at 1 p.m. on March 28th and remained on his knees until 10 in the morning the next day, braving the rain, the cold, and the curious stares of passers-by. At first, no one really paid attention to the lone man kneeling on the street with a bouquet of red roses next to him, but as the hours passed, people started noticing him and asking what he was doing. Before long, a crowd had formed around him. So, I mean, you know, like, for as much as I talk about, like, you know, common females and everything, like, you know, that is nothing to the amount of ego a Chinese woman in China would probably have. Like, they are sought after and they know it. So
it's like everybody else around noticed him, but did the ex-girlfriend even know he was out there?
You know, I don't know. Maybe she did, and she's just playing because she can. Yeah. You know, like, and this is nothing against women. Like, you know, men do this, you know, stuff too. People are people, and people, when they decide to be dicks, they can get really mean. So.
Yeah.
Very true. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway.
mean.
Now, for the whole reason why this show is named the way it is, at least today's episode, a very Kyle-centric, you know, whatever, is because a lot of these things, you know, sound stereotypically Kyle. Like, you know, that kid running away, you know, on his bike, you know, for 80 miles. That sounds like something a Kyle would do. You know, kneeling in front of your ex-girlfriend's workplace. That sounds like something a Kyle would do. Here we go. The city of Kyle, you know, from UPI here. The city of Kyle seeks people named Kyle for a world record attempt. So there's a city of Kyle, apparently. And here's this guy in Kyle Park. I'm here calling all Kyles to come here. So, yeah, the city of Kyle in Texas is celebrating its name by attempting to gather at least 2,326 people named Kyle in the same place at the same time. This sounds a lot like the Josh fight that happened back in 2020.
Yeah, they battled it. I was thinking of that,
yeah. The city announced its gathering of Kyles will be held as part of the Kyle Fair, a text Travaganza, May 19th through 21st at Lake Kyle Park. The event at 4 p.m. May 21st will attempt to break the Guinness World Record for the largest same-name gathering, first name only. The record was set by a gathering of 2,325 people named Ivan in Bosnia and Herzegovina back in 2017. So yeah, this is not just about, you know, breaking a record. This is about, you know, like that's Bosnia. This is the old, you know, red versus blue, Soviets versus U.S., you know, thing, like Ruskies versus us. We gotta defeat that record of Ivan's and take it over with the Kyles. Let's go! So yeah. Anyway, more from UPI. 101 skydivers over the age of 60 break world record in California. Hey, look at that. Finally some good news out of California. It happens every now and then. So, it says here, a group of 101 skydivers over the age of 60 gathered in California to create formations in midair and break 2 world records. The Skydivers Over 60 group, which organized the attempt at Skydive Paris, said the 101 jumpers successfully formed a snowflake formation on their 4th attempt. The previous record was set by a group of 75 skydivers over the age of 60 in Illinois in 2018. Well, all right. So, cool. And, of course, for further reading on this and all the other articles, please, refer to the underbar of the description. All the links to these articles are down there.
And that was over 60 groups, so I hope some of them got their lifelong dream of skydiving.
Yeah. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
And I wonder if any of these in Illinois went on to be part of this 101 in California.
Yeah, they could have. It's not that long ago. It was 2018 they did that, so.
Yeah, so another 5 years. So that'd be interesting. Because, I always wondered, how many people, during World War II were evacuated out of Dunkirk. How many of those people came back with the invasion of France in Normandy? So, a lot of questions. Anyway, we got another one here from UPI, and this sounds like a little bit of a conspiracy to me. Mystery spiral in Alaska sky was likely SpaceX rocket fuel. Well, how can you say it was likely? It either is or it isn't. And with something like space, you're gonna know. So, I don't know.
I've seen this before. They oddly look specific when they're in the sky. Those SpaceX rockets.
Yeah, and if this is just fuel, how is it creating a perfectly symmetrical swirl pattern that's glowing? That makes no sense. I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist. I may be talking out of my ass, but for a layman like me, this sounds a little fishy. A mysterious spiral caught on camera above the northern lights in Alaska was likely the result of fuel being released from a SpaceX rocket, an expert said. Well, why? The spiral was caught on camera by Todd Salat, aka the Aurora Hunter, while he was photographing the northern lights just before 2 in the morning southeast of Fairbanks. Elizabeth Withlow also posted photos of the strange sight she encountered while watching the lights from the northwestern part of the state. So we have multiple examples here. Let's bigger this here real quick.
And sometimes you got the auroras and northern lights.
It's moving. Did you see that?
If you get heavy geomagnetic storms, sometimes you can see the northern lights even lower, in the States.
Yeah, but look at this. Watch this. Are you watching my screen, right?
Yep.
Check this out. It's moving, and it's staying in shape.
It kind of resembled exhaust, but it went by fast. But with that actual picture, you can see the formation of what it really looks like.
Yeah, I don't think that's fuel because I know there's no atmosphere, and no pressure and anything in space, but just because of that, it's space. There's nothing. What's holding this together? If it's just fuel, why is it not drifting apart? How is it staying in shape and moving perfectly?
Something with the atmosphere, maybe evaporation. I don't know.
I don't know. I want this explained to me.
Yeah, I don't know either. It is a specific shape. You're right.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna add that into the ufology and actually ping Noah. Where's the ufology channel? Where is it? I have too many channels. Help. Okay, here it is. Okay, at Noah and no, hold on. Ufology channel. There we go. At Noah and at Son of Eric. Alright, put that in there. Let's move on up here. Another Kyle type situation from Associated Press. We have Littlest Intruder. A toddler crawled through the White House fence. What? Talk about a bad parent. So, a curious toddler on Tuesday earned the title of one of the tiniest White House intruders after he squeezed through the metal fencing on the north side of the executive mansion. U.S. Secret Service uniformed division officers who were responsible for security at the White House walked across the northern lawn to retrieve the tot and reunite him with his parents on Pennsylvania Avenue. Access to the complex was briefly restricted while officers conducted their reunification. Officers briefly questioned the parents before allowing them to continue on their way. So, well, dang. Well, that just proves that walls don't work. So, yeah.
Not in this case.
Yep. There's a couple more things I want to say, but I'm not going to say them like on camera. But yeah, and here's another thing from this this sky spiral thing, as it says here. So another source of information, once again in the underbar description, and we're just going to move on up here. Now another Kyle situation. From AP News as well. Boy at the age of 13 gets stuck climbing into claw machine for prize.
Wow.
Wow. At 13 though, like that's big. You're a big kid. I've heard stories about little kids doing that, but like by 13, unless you're a noodle, I don't know how you're gonna do it. So,
imagine if they had to break out the jaws of life just to get you out of a claw machine. Like, oops.
That's pretty funny. The jaws of life itself is a claw, so you use the claw to destroy the claw. Avengers reference right there. A 13-year-old boy had to be freed.
Destroy the stone.
A 13-year-old boy had to be freed from a claw machine after he climbed inside hoping to score a prize, according to an official at a North Carolina amusement park. Carowinds officials were alerted just before 2 p.m. Sunday that the boy was inside the Cosmic XL bonus game, which contained plush prizes, according to Courtney C. McGarry Weeper, a spokesperson for the park south of Charlotte. The medical response team unlocked the machine and the boy was able to get out, she said. He was treated and released from first aid to his guardian. The boy has been banned from the park for 1 year for attempted theft, Weber said. Good. So.
Attempted theft.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Learn your lesson.
True.
I guess that's what the fuck happens, huh?
And you're gonna get caught every time if you get stuck. I mean, there's no getting out of that one. Oh, yeah. I don't know how to explain this. I'm just stuck in the machine.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, fuck around and find out. But to the kid's defense, a lot of these these claw machines are rigged. Literally, all you need to do is turn a valve, and then you'll pass an inspection, and then you turn it again, and then it's not a strong claw.
Kind of like the key machine.
Oh, you're talking about that shit. I'm sorry, guys. I got to admit, I'm half in, half out of the show because I'm playing ESO right now, trying to get rid of stuff in my bank. You talking about the kid that climbed in? I mean, when did he climb? There was a kid that climbed in one recently, literally tried to climb inside the machine to steal the shit. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
And the kid got stuck in there. Now he's banned from the park for a year or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, you already heard about that. That's weird, but cool.
Yeah, dude. No. I was fucking reading that. I was reading that earlier today while I was on my break.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's funny that he got that big that quick. When did this happen? This just happened this week, right?
Today,
2 weeks ago or something?
Recently
It
closed
happened
tabs.
today?
This was reported, this was yesterday, on this source at least. So.
Yeah, I read about that.
Huh.
I subscribe to a lot of, I have a couple of different news apps I use, and I just do what I get. I don't even look for news anymore. It's just curated for me, and most of it's if I'm interested in something, I'll go looking, but I got so many news apps, I don't really have to. I got none of that Fox or CNN bullshit or MSNBC.
Unbiased news.
I'm trying to do unbiased news. I'm trying to.
Right.
I get some of my, I don't get any actual news through Quora. The only biased shit that I read is just, I have the Quora app. If you enjoy, news, and not even so much news, but just, oh Christ, what's the word?
Well, anyway, let's move on up here.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
It's not the time for that.
We have one more article here from Ripley's. Ripley's, believe it or not. We actually have them as a source. The most unbelievable robberies of 2023 so far. Of course, for full reading, I'm just gonna skim over these. So go to the underbar description.
I just saw that one. They stole 1 million dimes. I just heard about that. It's $100,000 in dimes. I just heard about that.
2 million dimes worth $200,000 stolen from truck parked at Philadelphia Walmart.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just heard about that. I was just talking about that with somebody.
Video.
Imagine You know how much that weighs? All those dimes. Like, how
A
would they be
lot.
able to like? Yeah, like so much. You'd have to like. I don't know how they'd fit all that in. That's so many dimes. Holy.
I remember one time, like I heard about a story about some guy who got a ticket, and he paid for it in pennies. Like, he literally had like an entire freaking like truck full of pallets and pallets and pallets of rolled up pennies, and he paid it. He paid his ticket, you know. But like,
Sexy motherfucker.
but we have another story here. Video shows theft of light bulbs from Oklahoma. So some guy was going around stealing people's light bulbs off the porch.
Started noticing.
That's weird. Like,
Yeah.
see, of all the things to steal, you're stealing people's light bulbs. Like, you know, that's almost as weird as the Florida man going around licking doorbells, which actually happened. Like, there was a doorbell licker. And then there was also a booty hole tickler. He broke into people's houses and tickled their bum bums. Like, that's real. Like, that actually happened.
It's wonderful to be enlightened by the luminosity of the things about these thieves that you bring into the light. They really just
Makes you feel how.
shines
Makes me
bright on
feel
my
how
soul.
sane I really am. It's like we're sane
Yeah.
if other people are doing this type of.
Yeah. Well,
Seriously, right?
well, you know, here's an article that we actually covered, and we actually like covered on more than one episode. We covered like this was a couple weeks ago actually. I think it was a Friday. Somebody had stolen a giant spoon sculpture that was out in front of a Dairy Queen. And then the following Tuesday, we reported on it being found like 3 miles away inside the fence of some middle school sports field.
Okay.
So somebody
Wow.
stole a giant spoon. What the hell? But yeah, I mean, like the saying is true. People will steal everything. Will steal anything, and like. That like I am an example. I've stolen a parking brick and a grocery cart once before actually. Like, you know, those like, you know, parking lots, like the big long rectangular things that, you know, at every spot. One night while coming home with a group of friends, I saw that one was like, you know, like not just loose but completely disconnected. Like the rebar was not there. So I literally picked it up, and it was like 80 pounds. It was solid concrete. Put it into a shopping cart and proceeded to take it home. So yeah, people will steal anything, including but unlimited to giant spoons. But yeah, anyway, I gotta make a phone call here. So let's wrap it up here. That will conclude the show. Once again, you can check the underbar of the description for any links you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. For your dose of passive, for your dose of different, odd, and otherwise strange news, we stream every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time. For all of you and all of us, I am Eo Xander.
I'm Scotty. You got it.
And
Interrupting Jace says what?
moo.
Moo.
Anyway, and of course, you viewer are you, and until you catch us this upcoming Friday, or if you're interested in some news, we have a new show we stream every day at 10 in the morning Pacific Time. Anyway, until whenever you see us again, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!
Toodles.
Turtles.